Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed since last time. The Newt Gingrich Farewell Tour. This past Tuesday, Newt Gingrich finally bowed to the obvious and dropped out of the Republican presidential race. Glory fucking hallelujah. Of course, a week before he announced he was dropping out of the race, Newt made an announcement that he was going to announce that he was dropping out of the race. And then he proceeded to take a kind of defeat lap around the South, making additional campaign stops and thanking supporters and forcing the spending of tens of thousands of more taxpayer dollars to pay for his Secret Service detail. But you know, in a weird way, I've got to hand it to Newt, because even in the noble act of admitting defeat and stepping aside, he manages to come off as utterly loathsome. What's with the farewell tour? Newt, I'm sure you've got 7 women on your mind, but that doesn't mean you're the fucking Eagles. Catholic school fires teacher for receiving in vitro fertilization treatments. Emily Herks, an English teacher at a Catholic school in Fort Wayne, Indiana, attempted to get pregnant a few years ago using in vitro fertilization treatments. As a result, she was told by the pastor of her Catholic church that she was, quote, a grave and immoral sinner, and she was fired from her job at the Catholic school. Now Emily is suing both her Catholic diocese and the school that fired her for wrongful dismissal. And she's not the only one. A woman from Ohio named Krista Diaz, who was also fired from her job teaching at a Catholic school because she underwent in vitro fertilization treatments, is suing her diocese as well. And you know what? Best of luck to them both. But what really sticks with me about this story is what Emily Herks says her pastor told her when she informed him that she had received IVF treatments. She says the pastor told her that a scandal would erupt if people in the church found out about this, and it would have been better for her if she just hadn't said anything at all. What a perfectly Catholic response that is. Isn't it nice to see that the organization has really learned from its recent experiences with scandals? Of course, it might also have been better if the church had just minded its own fucking business or behaved like an organization run by decent human beings, for once. Pastor tells parents of girlish sons to punch the gay away. Sean Harris, the pastor of Berean Baptist Church in Fayetteville, North Carolina, was talking to his congregation last Sunday, and do you know what he said?
So your little son starts to act a little girlish when he's 4 years old, and instead of squashing that like a cockroach and saying, man up, son, get that dress off you and get outside and dig a ditch, because that's what boys do, you get out the camera and you start taking pictures of Johnny acting like a female. Dads, the second you see your son dropping the limp wrist, you walk over there and crack that wrist. Man up. Give him a good punch, okay?
Now, obviously, a lot of people are up in arms over Harris's hateful and irresponsible sermon, which amounts to a positive recommendation of child abuse, but I see things a little differently. I don't want to condemn Harris. In fact, I want to thank him. I want to thank him for doing his part to ensure that this up-and-coming generation of gay men in America will be tough as nails and angry as fuck. I really hope that someday I get to read a newspaper story with the headline, North Carolina pastor hospitalized after being crippled by pissed-off gay Marine. And if that day ever comes, Sean Harris, you bigoted sack of shit, I'll be in your debt. Students walk out on Dan Savage for calling bullshit on the Bible. Last month, Dan Savage addressed a group of 3,000 journalism students on the subject of bullying, and he took a few minutes from his 1-hour speech to talk about the Bible and how people today routinely ignore all kinds of other bullshit that we find in the Bible. For instance, the prohibition against eating shellfish, or the detailed rules governing the sale and treatment of slaves, and yet they claim to still be bound by all the anti-gay stuff. Well, at this point, 20 or so students and a few teachers got up and walked out of the speech, offended either by Savage's use of the BS word or by his completely justified application of it to the Bible. Anyway, Last week, the organizers of the event apologized for Savage's failure to uphold the standards of civil discourse and also for his belittling of other people's faith. Well, here's the difference between me and the organizers of that event. I think that fairy tale fantasies that encourage and justify bigotry deserve nothing else but to be belittled. Right-wing outrage over Obama exploiting anniversary of bin Laden death. Oh yeah, that Obama sure is talking up the anniversary of Osama bin Laden's death, isn't he? Has he no shame? How dare he exploit this military operation for his own political gain? I mean, what kind of a depraved, subhuman worm would use what those brave service members did as campaign fodder? What kind of a craven piece of shit would even dream of trying to associate himself with a successful military operation in order to bolster his own popularity? That's what politicians do. That's not what heroes do. Yeah. The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.